Welcome students, I hope you enjoy what I've got to share with you this afternoon. So most of this presentation is about savings and what we do with the money we have or don't have. So the first part is savings. What do you do when you have to set up a bank account? So you might need a tax file number, you need ID. So to go to a bank to set up a bank account in your own name, you need to have ID that is at least 100 points. So you might have your birth certificate, you might have a passport, you might have a student ID card. You also can receive, once you're 16, you can get what is called a student card of your own. So you can't get any photo ID until you're at least 16. So when you have a bank account, you open it. There are all different types of products you can have. You can have an ATM card, which obviously gives you access to your money at any ATM worldwide. So it makes your money very accessible. With regard to the different types of banking platforms, so you can have internet banking, which is a great way to monitor your money, not only the money going into your account, but what you're spending. So if you're spending too much, you can monitor it weekly or daily. There are many different types of internet banking platforms. It's also really important that you may want to discuss with family members or friends what sort of platforms they have that work for how they have their different types of banking styles. With a lot of the banking devices today or banking platforms, do they fit your type of mobile device? So everybody today, I'm assuming a lot of you might have iPhones. Do all of you have a smartphone? Right, so obviously you're all over those kinds of tools in terms of technology and social media, but it's very important you can manage your money from your phone. So you don't have to be anywhere else. So does the bank that you currently bank with offer a platform where you can have a look at where your money is today and right now? It's also a great way of moving money around. So you may have a part-time job and receive some wages, or you might have pocket money from your parents, and you want to see each week what you're doing with that money. So to be able to access your money straight away is important to you so you know what money you've got available to spend. So when it comes to savings, what would you save for? So are your goals saving for something like a present for your mum? Which is a great idea, by the way. Is it buying something like an iPhone? Is it buying tickets to go to see your favourite band? Or is it just buying something today like a bag of chips or lollies? So is savings to you something that you want to save for long term so you can have a bigger, say an iPhone, or is it what you spend every day in terms of lollies at the shop or chips? So sometimes you've really got to think about what you're saving for and the value of the money that you're earning. So with school, I would imagine that you'd all have a planner, you'd have a diary on what you do day to day, and would you write in that planner everything that you need to do in terms of your school, if you've got extracurricular activity, maybe some chores that mum and dad have set for you, or a part-time job. So really having a budget or a savings goal is very similar. If you can have a template, even as simple as an Excel spreadsheet, to write what money you spend, whether it be on your lunch once a week, a movie, phone credit, that allows you to know what you're actually spending every week. So you may earn $50 a week and you may be spending $27 a week, as the graph shows here, on some lunch and a movie and your iPhone. So the rest of the money, what are you doing with it? So if you don't keep track of it, it could be very easy to lose sight of where your spending's going. So I guess with your study, when you sit down and work out, you've got assessments at the end of the term, you've got to work out what time you're spending on each assessment piece. It's the same with saving money. So if you put some time in and do a bit of your own homework, then you might find at the end of the year, if you've saved an extra $10 a week, actually how much you'll have in the bank for that goal that you may have. Internet banking, the set and forget program is quite good with internet banking. So you could have your everyday account where all of your income goes into, but then you can have extra accounts where you could save. So you can have more than one bank account, and obviously when you're setting up your banking, you want to check with the lender that they don't have a lot of fees and charges on that account, because you certainly don't want your money being eaten up with fees and charges. So it could be good to speak to a parent about how you would set up the bank account, which would be the best for your capacity of money that would be going into the bank at the moment, the amount of direct debits you might be doing. So at the moment, who's already got their own bank account and is using ATM regularly? Okay. Do you know if you have any fees on that ATM card when you go to take money out of the bank? Yes? So do you monitor that? I mean, if you're having a fee on your bank account of $2 every time you're withdrawing cash, that's going to eat into your money that you've worked really hard for. So is there a better way of using the ATM? So some really simple tools that could actually help you save your own money without you realising it. With also having a bank account, you could have your everyday account, once again, that you've worked with your budget, and that's your spending, and then you can have your savings account. So you can have your internet banking automatically set up so that you could save X amount of money every week that you don't see, don't think about, and at the end of the term of your goal, you could turn around and you might say your goal might be to save $500. So if you were to save $10 every week over 12 months, you would have $520. So there's your goal of achieving what you wanted to at the end of it. So if you put the money into a separate bank account, normally you won't look at it, you won't miss it, and you'll have a habit of savings automatically. So how can you save? Different ways of saving. Some of the philosophy is if you save 10% of everything you earned a week, you would be above average in savings. Majority of people can find that a bit difficult. So if you are earning $100 a week from a part-time job, if you were to save $10 of that a week, do you think you'd miss it? Probably not. But if you were maybe to try and save $90 and spend $10, you might, and then you might lose the incentive to keep saving. So where can you earn extra money from, do you think, to save? Could you earn it maybe by doing extra chores at home if that's the environment that your mum and dad do pay pocket money? Is that a way of earning extra money? If you have a part-time job, and I understand study comes first, but you may be over the holidays be able to work extra shifts and pick up some extra shifts, which would give you that extra money to save. So, you might have a skill that you could sell to somebody. It might be of value to somebody else because it's not a skill that they have. So have a look at what you've got yourself to offer. You could also maybe have some old clothes. I mean, there's a lot of the car boot sales. You might get a few friends and go to one of them and sell your old clothes. Or it might even be your old technology, that as you get a bit older and you get more savvy with it, that you're always upgrading. So, your own wardrobe at home may be a great tool of raising some funds that you might want for a goal that you have. If you're also very tech savvy, which I'm assuming most of you are, there's probably somebody that may need some assistance with that, and you could even have some sort of way of turning that into an income. So think about the skills that you have that you possibly may be able to earn some money from. The great thing about starting a savings history now is in the future. So right now you're all young and you're at school having some fun, you obviously don't have commitments, but the younger you are that you start getting into some really great savings habits, the easier it will be later in life when you go to borrow money. Because unfortunately we can't always buy what we want with cash. So the more that you can save and the more that you understand what savings is and what spending is, you will be a lot more of a prospect to a potential person that you want to borrow money from. So there's all different ways that you can save money. As I said, it might be just a bit extra every week, a bit of extra work, less spending. So it may be you have tuck shop twice a week, you may decide to cut it back to once a week. Or if you drink coffee, instead of having it 5 days a week, maybe have it 4 days a week. So you don't have to cut everything out, but maybe just, take one step back at a week and see how you go and watch your savings account grow. Also make sure that if you have a bank account, it's very important that you don't overspend. So if you've got $100 in your bank account and you've spent $110, you will be overdrawn. A, you will probably be hit with a charge, which the bank might charge you up to $10 for that, possibly more. And B, then your account's overdrawn. So that doesn't show a very good history of savings. It also doesn't show that you're actually in charge or in control of your money. So you really want to make sure that you're managing what you earn. So make sure, I guess, good rule is spend less than you earn, which we will go into a little bit later. Okay, spending. Now we all love to spend, am I right? So as we as we start out, we look at ourselves. We look at what we like to spend. So now, what you spend your money on will probably be different to what you spend your money on when you're a young teenager or when you've left school, as to when you're an adult and growing up and you're buying your first home or a car. The great thing though to remember is don't just save everything, because I think sometimes if we just save and don't enjoy ourselves along the way, we can maybe lose track of that goal. Because all we feel like we're doing is working, and there's no reward. So a little reward along the way is also important, but obviously make sure that it fits within your goals. For me, I do like to spend. I spend my money on property, on travel, on my family and on education. So, even as I'm a lot older than you people in the room here, it's still important that I have my own goals and decide what I want to spend my money on. So it's also about making good choices with the money that you earn. I also like buying shoes and bags and makeup and clothes, but I have to look at what is important to me and what my goal is. So how do you decide what to buy? Do you decide what to buy based on what your friend's buying, what's popular, what's cool, or do you buy what you like because you're an individual and it's about what you think suits you? So sometimes I guess you've got to look at, there's a lot of reasons why people buy money, and the habits about what's behind buying. Is it emotional? If we're sad, do we go shopping? If we're happy, do we go shopping? So think about, what is your habits when you do shop, what your spending habits are. And also what makes you decide to buy that particular item? Is it price? Wasn't you saw it in an advert, your friends have it, or was it obviously online? So think about what it is that makes you buy and what your spending habits are. If it's something on sale, well then that's great because you're getting a bargain. But if you're buying 4 of them, have you really met that goal at that time? You can also maybe look at, your textbooks. Can they be online or can you buy them from somebody else that are a bit cheaper? Do you have to have the newest every year? I'm not sure about the education systems with different schools, but you may want to investigate that. It could be a way of saving some extra money. I think sometimes our spending habits are determined by trends, social media, maybe what are some of the celebrities doing. But is that really relative to you and your everyday life? Because I guess we all want to aspire to be the coolest kid on the block. But in 5 years' time, when you want to buy a car or save for a house or travel, is that going to impact on it then? So, a great wardrobe is one thing, but having maybe a future savings plan, and some money in the bank could maybe get you towards your goal a bit sooner as an adult. Also look at the hidden costs of shopping. So online shopping is great because it's available, it's there, you can look at it, you don't have to leave your house, you can shop in your pyjamas and you can do it 24/7. However, it may be a great sale, but are you buying in American dollars? So are you converting the dollar? Is there like on the slide, is there a $35 fee for getting it shipped to your house? So you've now spent $50 on those jeans that you had to have. Is that a false economy? Could you have gone down to the local Westfield and bought them there for half the price? So just really be careful when you are online shopping, because if you're converting from, as I said, American dollars, and then there's always a service fee to get it delivered to your house, you may be spending a lot more than you think. Needs and wants. So what are your needs? So which one do you think doesn't fit here? So we've got food, obviously water, chocolate, home, clothing. Can anyone tell me what is a need? You're correct. So a need is obviously something that we need to live. We need water, we need shelter, we need food, we need clothing. We want chocolate, we all like chocolate, but clearly, we don't need that to get up in the day and that doesn't keep us alive. So with a savings plan also and a spending plan, please think about, what is a need over a want. And the next one on needs and wants is obviously a want and a need. So there's an apple and an apple. But you need the apple to eat for energy and to sustain yourself. An Apple Mac would be amazing, but do you need that? Is that going to keep you alive? Probably not. So what are your wants again? Which one doesn't fit here? So obviously pocket money, a new mobile phone, doing chores around the house, going to the movies and spending time with friends. So what do you think is a want? Anybody? Yell it out. All of it? Well, the chores, correct. The chores is a need. You don't really want to do them. No one wants to do chores, but we all have to achieve what we want at the end of it. So everything else there is a want. We do want to hang out with friends, we want to go to the movies, and we want pocket money, and we want the latest technology. But doing the chores, that's what we need to probably get us to the iPhone and everything else that we need. So really understand what is the difference for you, what is a need and a want. Once again, a want and a need. So obviously the old telephone, when I grew up, that's what we had. We had a phone that you had to answer. It wasn't remote in your pocket. So, we've come a long way with that, but do we always need a mobile phone 24/7? Of course, that's where society's headed. But maybe you don't need the latest one right now. Maybe you do to be cool, but I guess that also once again comes back to the saving, the want, the need. Okay, credit. So good credit versus bad credit. If you're going to all go to university in the coming years, then you will obviously have a HECS debt unless you're lucky enough to have a windfall with a lot of money. That is what it would be called good debt. because you're borrowing that money to educate yourself, to get into a great career and move on. A bad debt is using a credit card to buy a wardrobe full of amazing clothes. And you know what? It would be great, you'd look fantastic, but you'd have a credit card and then you'd have to pay that back. So that's, the good debt versus the bad debt. Think about the education, what you'll get at the end. So you're a bit of pain now for a massive gain down the track. Okay, credit. Which one of these is credit? And one more? Loan. So a credit card and a loan is credit because you've gone and borrowed money from somebody. You don't have that available yourself. The next slide is of your credit file. So once you turn 18, you can start borrowing money. How exciting. You can get a credit card. You can have a personal loan. You can have a car loan. You can have those TVs now and pay for them later. You can buy a house. Remember, you do have to pay it back. So when you do apply for finance, a credit check is done to look at your credit history. So when you turn 18 and you might have a mobile phone that you haven't paid on time, if you go and apply for some credit somewhere, that will show up on your credit report. So paying everything on time is very, very important for you down the track because it will impact on your credit history. So at the moment, if you've got a phone, it might be that you've got a prepaid phone, but once you have a phone that's on a plan and a lender has lent you the money for that, so you've borrowed the money for that phone plan, if you do not pay that phone bill on time, you will eventually go into default. You will end up with a bad credit rating that can impact on you borrowing money down the track for 7 years. So be mindful that you always pay any type of credit that you have, whether it's a loan or a credit card, on time, even any bills that you have. So if you've got a phone bill, if you've got, at this stage it would be a phone bill, but down the track it could be a personal loan, it could be a utility bill, you need to make sure it's very important you pay them on time. This is your credit file. So this particular person has not paid his electricity bill on time and he has got a $2,700 default. So that is going to make it very, very difficult for him to borrow money. So clearly you need to make sure that you do pay your bills on time. If you are going online and doing any type of internet shopping or buying online and it's a credit application, you will have a credit check. Too many credit hits will also impact on your borrowing down the track. Okay, who lends money? So there's the big four major banks, which I'm sure we've all heard of, but there's also non-banks. There's credit unions, there's building societies, there's private lending. The list goes on. You can borrow money for a car, a house, a holiday. So when you're borrowing money, what that means is someone's lending you money to buy something that you do not have the cash for today. So you go into a payment plan and you must make those payments fortnightly, monthly, or weekly. When you are borrowing money, make sure that you do have savings. So these are three very important parts of the borrowing process. You have to have good savings, a good credit rating, and you have to have a job. Just really look at what you're doing with your money. Also look at what you're doing. If you're going online to banking portals, make sure that there's identity theft is also an issue. You don't want somebody taking your identity and borrowing money in your name because it will impact on you negatively down the track. But thank you for having me here today. I do hope that you learnt something.